Welcome to the Manufacturer's Product Formulation Statement, PFS, be a PFS Master, Practice Session presented by Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs. For a more in-depth training, please view the PFS in-depth series available on the resource slide at the end of this practice session. Is everyone ready to practice your skills? We're going to go through this together to give you some practice on how to review and verify the contribution statement as the manufacturer has listed it on the PFS. Does everyone have their pencil, calculator, and paper ready? To begin, let's evaluate a PFS for a grilled chicken nugget. According to the PFS, the contribution stated on the PFS for chicken nuggets provides 2.25 ounce equivalent meat. Now let's verify the PFS to determine if the product actually provides 2.25 ounce equivalent of meat. First, does the manufacturer provide a list of credible ingredients? No. Why is that? Chicken is listed but does not specify whether it is ground or not. Chicken meat should be listed on the PFS as boneless chicken or ground chicken. In this case, the manufacturer may identify the chicken based on the type, or how it was processed, to a similar description as listed on the product label and in the food buying guide. Please note that chicken listed on the PFS as chicken is not acceptable. The manufacturer would need to clarify the type of chicken. As a sponsor, you would need to request an updated PFS from the manufacturer indicating which chicken product was used in the formulation. However, to move forward in this exercise, we will assume this request was already made and the manufacturer indicated that ground chicken was used. What is the amount of raw ground chicken used for the portion of this product? You will find this information listed on the PFS. Per this PFS, the raw portion weight is 2.88 ounce. What is the food buying guide yield for ground chicken? 70%. We now have all the information needed to determine if the contribution listed on the PFS is correct. We just need to verify the calculations. 2.88 ounces of raw ground chicken multiplied by the food buying guide yield of 70% gives you 2.01 ounce equivalent meat, which rounds down to 2 ounce equivalent meat contribution. Based on the information here, do we need to contact the manufacturer? Please select one of the following answers. Yes, we need to contact the manufacturer for more information about the credible ingredient only. Yes, we need to contact the manufacturer because the PFS crediting statement is incorrect. No, we need to contact USDA F&S regarding the food buying guide for chicken. Or no, we have all the information we needed. What do you think the answer is? Please select your answer on the screen and then click Continue. Great. The answer is yes, we do need to contact the manufacturer because the PFS statement is incorrect. Does anyone know why? There's an issue here. The product is credited incorrectly. As we found with our calculation, 4 of these grilled chicken nuggets, 2.6 ounce by weight of the finished product, would credit at 2 ounce equivalent meat, not 2.25 ounce equivalent as the manufacturer has listed on the PFS. 2.88 ounce raw portion times the food buying guide would equal 2.01 ounce equivalent meat, which round downs to 2 ounce equivalent of meat contribution. Hence, they should not have rounded up to 2.25 ounce equivalent. So we need to contact the manufacturer to inform them of this discrepancy. For menu planning purposes, we would use 2 ounce equivalent contribution. Now we are going to go over some points to remember to determine the meal pattern contribution for meat alternate product. First, do not round up to the total credible amount. Also, total credible amount must be rounded down to the nearest 0.25 ounce equivalent. The total credible amount cannot count for more than the total weight of the product. Also, alternate protein product, or APP, is only creditable when supporting documentation is provided. And last but not least, supporting documentation must be provided for each APP used in product. For more information on APP, please visit the in-depth training on PFS. The link to this training is listed on the resource slide at the end of this presentation. Now we'll review how to determine the contribution for a grain product. If you recall, a PFS may include information based on the weight as listed in Exhibit A or based on the grams of credible grain component. In this example, we'll evaluate the PFS for a biscuit based on weight of the finished product, as listed in Exhibit A. Please note, Exhibit A pertains to NSLP and SPP meal pattern. It is a chart which shows ounce equivalency for a variety of bread grain products based on 16 grams of creditable weight. It is used to credit whole grain rich products to the NSLP and SPP meal patterns. If you are a CACFP or SFSP sponsor, you will use the bread grain chart showing equivalents for a variety of bread grain products based on 14.75 grams of credible weight. It is used to credit enriched grain products to the CACFP, SFSP meal patterns, where the weights are based on enriched grains. Before we verify the contribution statement, let's review the label ingredient statement to see if the product meets F&S whole grain rich criteria. The first ingredient is whole wheat flour, and the second ingredient is enriched wheat flour. As you can continue to read the ingredient statement, the product also contains wheat flour. The wheat flour is not whole or enriched, therefore it is considered a non-creditable grain. However, the wheat flour is listed after the less than 2% statement. Therefore, it is not required to be included in the calculation when determining the amount of non-creditable ingredients. Since the whole wheat flour is a primary grain ingredient and the other grains listed is enriched wheat flour, this item meets the whole grain rich criteria for the NSLP and SPP meal patterns. According to the PFS, the portion size of one biscuit weighs 50 grams. The weight of 1 ounce equivalent as listed in Exhibit A is 28 grams. The PFS includes the necessary information to determine the gram contribution. By dividing 50 grams by 28, the total credible amount is 1.78 ounce. Round down to the nearest quarter ounce, which equals 1.75 ounce. Using the same example, we'll now determine the grain contribution based on the grams of creditable grain. Does the PFS include the amount of creditable grain ingredient proportion? Yes, the biscuit contains 23.5 of whole wheat flour and 11 grams of enriched wheat flour. The gram standards for this item is 16 grams. There are different gram standards depending on which group of food is categorized in Exhibit A. The gram standards for A through G is 16, and the gram standards for items H through I is 28. This item is a biscuit. It belongs in Group B, and the gram standard is 16 grams. To determine if the contribution statement is correct, divide the creditable grain amount by the gram standard of 16 and the two creditable amounts together for a total of 2.15 ounce, which rounds down to 2. Equivalent grain contribution. Depending on which method is used to calculate the grain credit, Exhibit A showing the weight of the finished product, as in the previous example, versus this example showing the actual grams of creditable grains. It is possible to get two different crediting amounts. Keep in mind, the weights listed in Exhibit A are based on minimum grain amount to provide a 1 ounce equivalent, whereas the grams of creditable grain is the actual amount of grain ingredient, which may be higher than the minimum 16 gram standard. In this example, the credible grain ingredient amounts are combined and documented as one total. This is acceptable, as long as the product label clearly identifies whole grains as a primary ingredient and all other grains are enriched. Alright, now, is everybody ready to practice your skills? We're going to go through this together to practice what we just learned. In this example, the contribution will be determined by using the grams of credible grains using the gram standard for National School Lunch and Breakfast programs. So please take out your pencils, calculator, and paper. This item, which is a roll, falls within Group B, so we'll use how many grams as a standard of credible grain per ounce equivalent. As a reminder, the gram standard listed in Exhibit A, groups A through G, is 16 grams, and the gram standard for groups H and I is 28 grams. This item is a roll and is part of Group B, so the gram standard is 16 grams. In this example, the amount of each credible grain ingredients is provided. There is 26.5 of whole wheat flour proportion and 9 grams of enriched wheat flour proportion. We divide each amount of credible grain by the gram standard of 16, so let's do that now. 26.5 divided by 16 equals 1.656. And then we have 9 grams divided by 16, and that will give us 0.562. The credible amount of whole wheat flour is 1.656, and the credible amount of enriched wheat flour is 0.562. So what is the total of credible amount? We add together 1.656 plus 0.562, and we get a total of 2.2 ounce. And then we round down to the nearest quarter ounce, and we get 2 ounce equivalent grains. Does this product meet F&S whole grain rich criteria for NSLP and SPP meal pattern? Yes, it does. Does this product contain non-credible grain? We see that the wheat bran is listed in red text, but it's not a factor for us because it's listed after the 2% statement. Please select one of the following answers. Yes, we need to contact the manufacturer for more information about the non-credible grain only. Yes, we need to contact the manufacturer because the amount of credible grain is missing. No, we need to contact USDA F&S regarding the revised Exhibit A, or no, we have all the information we need. What do you think the answer is? Please select one of the following. Correct. The answer is no. We have all the information we need. So now we're going to go over some points to remember when determining the meal pattern contribution for a grain product. First, do not round up total creditable amount. Also, total creditable amount must be rounded down to the nearest 0.25 ounce. We must also remember that both options for crediting grains are acceptable. Grams of creditable grains or weight of the finished product using Exhibit A or the bread grain chart. And last but not least, program sponsors may choose the option that best fits the needs of the menu planner. For additional guidance regarding F&S whole grain rich criteria, please see our whole grain resource, which is available on the resource slide at the end of this presentation. Now review the contribution statement for a vegetable. According to the PFS, 1 cup of vegetable soup provides ½ cup red-orange vegetable and a 1/4 cup starchy vegetable. Let's see if the PFS provides enough information to verify the vegetable credit for this item. Does the PFS identify the credible ingredient? Yes, diced tomatoes and potatoes. Do the credible ingredient match or have similar description as the product label and the food buying guide? Yes, again. Does the PFS include the ounce per raw portion of each credible ingredient? Yes, there are 5.0 ounces of the diced tomato and 1.8 ounces of diced potatoes. Does the PFS include the corresponding food buying guide yield for each ingredient? Yes, that information is provided in the last column of the PFS. The manufacturer has given us all the information needed to determine if the contribution statement is correct. The next example is for a number 10 can of pinto beans. Please note, whole foods that are listed in the food buying guide, such as fruits and vegetables, are not required to have a PFS. However, a CMP sponsor may request a PFS to show as documentation for a state review. According to the PFS, one number 10 can of pinto bean provides 28 half-cup legume vegetables or 2-ounce equivalent meat alternate. The food buying guide yield for pinto beans is also provided. The PFS has included all of the information to determine if the contribution statement is correct. Based on the needs of the menu planner, the program sponsor will decide how they will incorporate pinto beans into the meal. The menu planner can incorporate the pinto beans as a vegetable or as a meat alternate component, but not both in the same meal. Moving forward, we'll review the PFS for a 4-ounce mixed cup packed in light syrup. The PFS may demonstrate the fruit contribution one of two ways, based on the amount of each individual fruit in the mix, or use the food buying guide yield information for the number 10 can fruit mix. For this example, we'll use the yield information for the number 10 can fruit mix. As we can see from the calculation, a 4-ounce mixed fruit cup provides 3/8 cup of fruit. In order to achieve a higher fruit credit, such as half cup, the manufacturer will need to adjust the serving size of the pre-portioned cups. So we received a letter about a product from Miss Iwana Strong Body, the director of Strong Body Company, and her letter reads, "To whom it may concern, I am interested in marketing my product to be served in your USDA Child Nutrition Meals program. The Strong Body collard greens would be a great addition to any meals program. Please see the attached product formulation statement. Thank you for your consideration," and it's signed, "I Want a Strong Body," and it also includes an enclosure. So here is her enclosure, which consists of a PFS. Let's note some of the parts of the PFS that are important just for review. We have a template here that has been filled out in with the product that we are discussing, and this one is a simple one because it's a can that is full. So Ms. Strongbody has certified at the bottom that the statement and information provided is true. But what is the first thing that is missing here? The PFS should be presented on company letterhead, and that is a key missing piece here. What else do we need to check? Number 2, we're going to check our numbers. The Food Buying Guide for Child Nutrition Program yields numbers of 27.20 ounce corresponds to column 3 in the Food Buying Guide entered for collard greens, a number 10 can. The purchase unit number is 54 ounces, corresponds with column 6 in the Food Buying Guide entered for collard green can. So that information is correct. Let's keep going, and as we do, we're pulling out those pencils, calculators, and paper one last time. The credible ingredient is collard greens. One number 10 can of collard greens, heated and drained, provides 27.20 ounce, 1/4 cup servings. Therefore, you have your 4 ounce multiplied by 27.20, divide by the 54, and it's going to give you 2.0148, but we round that down and we get 2 1/4 cup, which is equals 1/2 cup of dark green vegetable. So 4 ounces of this product provides a 1/2 cup vegetable. So who are the PFS masters out there? Do we need to contact the manufacturer for more information to determine if the crediting is correct? Please select one of the following answers. Yes, we need to contact the manufacturer because the information is not provided on company letterhead. Yes, we need to contact the manufacturer because the PFS is incorrect. No, we need to contact the USDA F&S to approve the PFS. No, we have all the information we need. What's the answer? The answer is yes, we need to contact the manufacturer because the information is not provided on company letterhead. So even though everything else was correct, we'd still need to contact the manufacturer because the information has to be provided on company letterhead in order to be accepted. So, to reemphasize what we just pointed out, the PFS must be presented on company letterhead in order to be acceptable. As noted before, foods that are listed in the food buying guide, such as fruits and vegetables, are not required to have a PFS. However, a CMP sponsor may request a PFS to show documentation for state reviews. So here are some points to remember when determining the meal pattern contribution for a fruit or vegetable product. First, fruit and vegetable credit on the same volume served, with the exception of dried fruits, tomato paste, puree, and raw leafy green vegetables. This exception applies to school meals only. For additional details regarding these exceptions, please refer to SP 10, 2012, version 9, question and answer on the final rule, which is available on the resource slide at the end of this practice session. Also, do not round up the total credible amount, always round down to the nearest quarter cup. The food buying guide yield information for fruits and vegetables is presented in quarter cups. Also, a quarter cup to cup conversion chart is available on the resource slide at the end of this presentation. For our last review, we'll evaluate the PFS for a cheese pizza. According to the PFS, 5.00 ounce of cheese pizza provides 2 ounce equivalent meat alternate, 2 ounce equivalent grain, and 1/4 cup red-orange vegetable. The PFS identifies several credible ingredients: cheese, which contributes to the meat alternate component, tomato paste, which contributes to the vegetable component, red-orange subgroup for NSLP sponsors, and the crust, which contributes to the bread grain component. The PFS also includes the amount of each credible ingredient. The product contains 2 ounces of cheese. Since cheese credits 1:1, with the exception of ricotta cheese, all of these cheese ingredients may be combined and documented as one amount. The amount of tomato paste is 0.58 ounce. Corresponding food buying guide is also provided. The weight of the crust is 56 grams, and the grain credit is determined by using the weight list in Exhibit A for S&P. Based on the information provided, the contribution statement is correct. Now to wrap up, here are the points to remember when determining the meal pattern contribution for all products. A PFS may include crediting information for more than one meal component on the same document. However, it must include the required information needed to verify the contribution information statement for each meal component. A PFS may include the product nutritional information but is not required. If it does not include this, you will need to reference the nutrition facts label. Please keep in mind that a PFS is not required to be updated yearly. Manufacturers should provide you a revised PFS when the product formulation or the product contribution statement changes. Program sponsors are encouraged to communicate with manufacturers to ensure that the PFS reflects the most current information. Lastly, that we know this is a lot of information to process. To help you navigate through the PFS process and become a PFS master, F&S has developed tips to help evaluate these documents. The tip sheets help to determine whether PFS is accurate and when you would need to contact the manufacturer. This tip sheet is available on the resource slide at the end of this presentation. Thank you for participating in Manufacturer Product Formulation Statement PFS, Be a PFS Master training for child nutrition programs. If you have any questions, please contact your assigned child nutrition specialist or the assigned specialist on duty. Please see the resources available with this training on the next slide. We greatly appreciate the work that you do to fuel Oregon's future. Please visit these resources for more information on PFS.